150-pound fighters first. Fighting out of the Father's Insurance Red Corner from the Elevation Fight Team in Denver, Colorado. Please make welcome Gerald.
And the crowd firmly engaged in this 150-pound fight featuring Bizhan Bahadori. He's wearing the blue and white trunks, representing Grudge Training Center, facing off against Gerald Scott. He's wearing the black and white trunks and the smile, and he represents Elevation Fight Team.
Something tells me this is going to be a fun one, JR.
A touch of gloves for sportsmanship, and they all punch each other in the face.
Whoa. Gerald Scott looking to take Bahadori's head off with that kick.
That was a fast kick, and then he goes low with it to the inside. And let's make no mistake about it, both these guys fully engaged in a fist fight, Ron.
Oh, yes, sir. No need to wait.
Scott pressuring forward, but Bahadori not letting himself get backed into the cage. And both these guys throwing heavy hands. Scott looking to put it on the ground, has an ankle wrapped up. Good job by Bahadori popping that foot free. Scott going to try to go to the double, gets the ankle pick. Nicely done by the Elevation fighter.
Both these guys come from extremely reputable camps here in Colorado. And both of these camps constantly crank out outstanding athletes, so this ought to be interesting to see what happens here.
Bahadori just a moment ago going with some palm strikes to the ears. Very wise tactic off of his back, but Scott trying to posture up now, looking to try to get some ground and pound. Bahadori active with the guard, but Scott more active with the ground and pound.
Man, Gerald Scott almost put his hand through the mat and really looking to measure up and connect with Bahadori, but Bahadori doing a really nice job of keeping that leg defense up while he's on his back.
Bahadori with his feet on the cage, going to try to roll free, almost able to do so, but Scott showing nice balance and heavy hips in the north-south position. And the corner of Bahadori saying, go for it again, and Bahadori listening. Well, I thought he was going to try to push himself off the cage. He's just a little bit far to have the leverage, so he's going to try to go for the inverted triangle. And Bahadori, nice job with the scramble.
Really nice scramble from both guys.
Bahadori looks to duck and counter. Classic go underneath and come back over the top with the hook. Tries forward again. Scott wise to it now.
I like the way that Gerald Scott's throwing that right hand nice and straight right down the pipe. And he's setting up everything with that body kick that he's been landing effectively here is Gerald Scott. Bahadori throws a nice overhand right that counters and lands.
What I like about Bahadori here, Ron, is as he gets close to the cage, he sets his feet almost to invite Scott in and then times the counter.
He absolutely
really nicely done by the Grudge fighter. There's the 10-second clacker. Looks like we're going to take this to the second round.
Oh, outstanding body shots from Bahadori. Nice finish at the end of the first round. Second round just about underway here. Cage door is locked, loaded, and here we go. Second round underway. Both fighters touch gloves again, JR. So, JR, if you're in the corner of Bahadori, what are you telling him in between rounds?
Watch for the takedown. Other than that, he's doing great in the stand-up. He's timing his counters nicely. He's being offensive enough. And my goodness, does Scott come out hard with that leg kick.
Unbelievable execution of a leg kick, and then followed up with a furious combination trying to finish Bahadori. But Bahadori really doing an exceptional job of staying calm here and really not letting himself get into trouble or get wild.
And that's what I was talking about to answer your question, Ron, was to watch for that takedown, because it seems that Scott has a bit of an advantage here, able to control the position somewhat, and he did a good job with his ground and pound once he was able to posture in round one.
Yeah, absolutely right. And how about for Gerald Scott? What are you telling him if you're in his corner?
Go ahead and take it to the mat. He's obviously doing well in the stand-up, but it's mostly even, I would say, and on the ground I think we're seeing Scott have a little bit of an advantage, especially positionally.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same in terms of his grappling game, his top game. From a striking standpoint, I'm telling Gerald Scott to mix up the kicks, go low, go high, mix everything up, because Bahadori's kind of biting on some of those head kicks.
And Bahadori able to scramble up from this position in round one. Let's see if Scott can keep him down here. Bahadori does nice work with his legs, and we see it right there. Even though Scott jumped in, landed a little bit of a clipping shot, Bahadori still able to attain full guard.
And this is really where Gerald Scott can really kind of pull away in this fight by staying busy in that top position, as well as keeping Bahadori pinned up against that cage, not allowing him to execute any type of offense at all.
Yeah, for a little bit there, Bahadori with closed guard. That shows you're not going to try to get an escape. You're not trying to do any submission attempts. And Scott, that's when he flurried strong with that ground and pound. As soon as Bahadori pulled that leg through, Scott stood up, tried to reset his game, and now he's here in side control.
Yep, exactly. And now, if Bahadori's right there in his corner should be imploring him to get up, stand up, get out of there.
And Scott full mount now, looking to stretch his opponent out. Doesn't have the grapevine position, has his feet crossed underneath. So he's just going to try to settle his hips down, try to get to work with his hands.
Referee Tom Johnson taking a close look.
And Scott doing a really nice job controlling the hips here.
Outstanding job, really.
Yeah.
He's got him locked down on that cage, on his back, pinned in his own corner, and now looking to take his back.
But Bahadori with the scramble. I tell you, the strength of Bahadori and his buck and roll is really something that's impressive. 10-second clacker sounded, Ron. We get round three.
Yeah, he is an explosive kid. Third and final round in this little barn burner we've got going on here between Gerald Scott and Bijan Bahadori. JR, give us your take on what you've seen so far.
Just really exciting, fast-paced technical striking from both. A little bit of positional advantage by Scott when he's able to take it to the ground, but Bahadori always able to effect an escape in order to bring it back to standing.
I like what Gerald Scott's been doing with keeping range and keeping distance today. He's really been just on the cusp of getting hit, but just outside of range at the same time.
And then when he elects to close the distance, he's been really effective with his takedowns because of his devotion to the takedown and the commitment to drive through. And that's the first time that we've seen Bahadori have that great of defense. And now Scott in some trouble up against the cage, and Bahadori mixing his strikes exceptionally well.
Really outstanding job of Bahadori to stay in this fight, stay competitive, pick your shots, especially when you get the opportunity, and land clean, and that's exactly what he's been doing. Gerald Scott taking Bahadori to the cage right now, has him pinned, looking for that takedown. Just like you said, JR, there it is. Committed to that takedown and effectively getting Bahadori to the ground.
Yeah, really nice leg reap there in order to get Bahadori down, but every time we've seen Bahadori here, he's taken a little punishment but then been able to get back up.
Yeah, this is going to be a real test for him because Gerald Clark has really established himself as kind of taking control of this fight with that ground game, and Bahadori really needs to get out of this spot if he's going to win this fight.
Scott able to keep the roll from happening there. Bahadori, like we mentioned a couple times, showing good strength with that buck and roll. Scott finally able to base out from it. Bahadori now with closed guard, so he's almost conceding the position here. Don't know if he needs to take a breath. He's trying to control posture. Now he's opening up his guard and trying to push Scott away. And Scott using that distance to get some good strikes in.
Yeah, and I'm really, really impressed with both these guys. From Bahadori's standpoint, I'm really impressed with the way that this kid's able to stay composed in there. And not just that, you know, he looks like he's in great shape. He's not fazed at all by what's going on. He's just being handled right now in the top position by an outstanding top game grappler.
And both these guys, no matter what the outcome of this fight, these guys have made a name for themselves here in Colorado MMA.
Without
just
doubt.
a great showing from each of them.
And a furious pace to this fight. Let's talk about the conditioning of both of these guys.
Yeah, 150-pound fight, and you know these guys are going at it like a couple of 125-pound fighters in the pace that they're keeping. And in the 150-pound division, a little bit more strength coming in, so these guys landed solid shots and having to show their conditioning by way of accepting those shots.
Absolutely right.
There's the 10-second clacker. Looks like we're going to end with Scott in side control, continuing the ground and pound, controlling the position like we talked about, and we're going to end up taking this one to the judges.
Scores about 30-27. Judge Van Tine scores about 29-28. Judge Mills scores about 29-28. Declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Gerald. Gerald's got